Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.
Good morning. This is Shri here with a recap of the first day proceedings from the Australian Open, or the first round proceedings. The Australian Open started in the men's section on Saturday, and a lot of interesting results, but some of the no great upsets, but a lot of tough matches for some very highly seeded players. I'll be doing a detailed preview show with Dr. Dan Kessler later today, but just to recap some of the matches that happened. Casper Ruud, who's 0-3 in the Grand Slam final, making his way back. He's actually in the sixth seeded player. He had a very tough time against Munar. Went back and forth. Casper won the first set and third set, and then romped away much easy in the third set, 6-1. But an opening round scare for the top 10 player in the world. And this is something that he needs to continue to work on. He's sixth in the world. He's got some great results, but I'd love to see him go further this year and hopefully win a major one of these days. Now, especially with Sinner and Alcaraz, it's going to be a little challenging. Sinner is probably playing as good as anybody can. In the other one, Nishikori, who had been to a Grand Slam final many, many years ago at the U.S. Open, had a very tough time, fell 2 sets down to the Brazilian, but managed to win the next 3 sets to move to the second round. Fils from France won a tough one too. And then Zverev, I watched some of the highlights, looked really solid. Zverev, again, was in many Grand Slam semifinals. Again, another player who's been knocking on the door for winning his first major. Let's see if this is something that he can do to overcome that. Opelka, who was the Novak Djokovic killer in the tune-up match to Australian Open, won a tough 4-setter. I know he had to withdraw after he had back issues, but I think he seems to be playing well. Ugo Humbert, another significant winner, a tough match in the first round, and he went through as well. And then you have Lehecka, and this is someone that Radik has been talking up in the podcast, him and JW. He had a tough first round, 1-4, but dropped the second set. So someone to watch as well. You have some very interesting matches coming up in the first round later today at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You have Tsitsipas on tap, Tiafoe on tap. You do have some of the Draper. Sinner should be later, much later in the night, almost at 10 p.m. But then, and Tommy Paul as well is on tap later at 11. So this is the good part about watching Australian Open. It starts at 7 p.m. and it's great from an East Coast standpoint, but once it gets past midnight, it becomes tough to watch. And then some of them would be early morning matches. Djokovic will be playing at 3 a.m. Same thing with Alcaraz. Djokovic in the Rod Laver Arena and Alcaraz in the Margaret Court Arena. So you have a lot of interesting matches on tap in the Australian Open. When we do the preview, you will see some of my predictions for the overall winner and the top 8. Dr. Dan and I usually do that. So looking forward to that preview show. But I will try to do a recap every day so that we can get some updates on the Australian Open. Thanks again for listening.
Thank you for listening. Primo will be back soon.